What's up, everyone? Welcome back. My name is Dave. I'm a coach, I'm a hypnotherapist. And in today's video, I want to make the case to you that you can't fully heal and be a blind follower of the status quo of society. That if you are a follower and you're afraid to express yourself or be yourself, this is actually a wound and it's actually in the way of your full healing and resolution. So if you're trying to work out your complex trauma, let go of old trauma, resolve your depression, your anxiety, to get there, you're going to have to let go of being a blind follower. So let me explain to you why this would be. So welcome back, everybody. Like I said in the intro, in case you don't know me, you're new to the channel, my name is Dave. I'm a coach, I'm a hypnotherapist. I specialize in psychedelic support and kind of doing psychedelic therapy with people. And this channel, in case you're not familiar, is all about going deep with healing and the nervous system and spiritual awakening and personal development, how all these things click together. And lately I've been talking a lot because I'm just launching a course right now about attachment and how to use attachment work to heal your nervous system so that you can let go of that trauma or whatever it is. So that's kind of the general context if you're not familiar with my videos in terms of this conversation. In particular, in today's conversation, I want to start to plant a seed that I think is really important for everyone out there to hear and understand about being a blind follower in society. Okay, so just to set up the context here a little bit, and I probably will ramble a little bit because I'm a little tired today, so bear with me. Um, I've been looking a lot. I just took side note here, a little minor side note. I just took a break from the channel for about a month here, and I was working on the course on the back end. And I've also been exploring and learning a lot of new stuff about implications of this work, okay? About implications of trauma healing, about certain aspects of what needs changing. How do we heal ourselves as a people, as a society, as a world? How do we make a better place? This is kind of what's been on my mind. And I've been learning a bunch of new stuff. And I'm going to throw some ideas here at you. And so that's all in the background here of what I'm about to share here. And so as you probably know, as you probably recognize, perhaps you experienced yourself, most people in our world, in our society, in our modern culture are blind followers. Most people are afraid to fully express themselves. Most people are afraid to act on their true desires, true drives, true value system. A lot of people are so disconnected from their own authentic drives, they wouldn't even know what they were, right? Most people look to the kind of prescribed model of how you're supposed to live your life, the timing things are supposed to happen in, the achievements, excuse me, you're supposed to unlock, the experiences you're supposed to have. Most people look at their lives, either as a checklist or as, a set of, things, images they'd like to put up on Instagram to demonstrate they're living a good life, right? And there's this kind of follower status quo sheep mentality that most people live inside of. And maybe that's you too. And I want to explain to you why, as I'm starting to heal more and as I'm starting to help other people heal more, where it's become very clear to me that that's fine. You can do that. You can be a follower, but you can't be a follower and fully heal. Okay. So let's dive into this a little bit more here. So, a major aspect, I think, of waking up and of healing both, and I don't think healing and waking up are the same thing, by the way, side note here, but a major aspect of both that they have in common is unplugging from social conditioning, unplugging from the status quo, unplugging from the prescriptive messages of how you should live your life. And as Carl Jung would put it, becoming more actualized, becoming more of our own person, becoming more individuated. That's the word I was looking for. And in my experience, this is really true. And I think this very much ties into understanding attachment needs and the attachment system in human beings. And so this is a lot of what, I'll be talking about in the course that I've just put out, which is Secure Self-Relating. There's a link down below. You can check out the free course. You can sign up for the prepaid version, which will be cheaper, of the full course. Highly recommend you do. And understanding attachment dynamics is at the root of it. And in particular, In order to speak nervous system, in order to speak human being, in order to understand your own motivations, your own needs, your own drives, and the drives and needs of others, there are a set of attachment needs. Okay. Now, needs are not the same thing as wants, right? Needs are like we have a need for food, we have a need for water, a need for sleep, a need for comfort. We also have attachment needs. We have needs in the relational connection to be a certain way in order for us to be mentally healthy and whole and thriving. Okay. There's a whole set of attachment needs. And in the course, we go over them, we unpack them all. Maybe at some point here, I'll do a video just on, some of the major attachment needs. But I want you to understand we have these attachment needs. And when we are, operating in a following way, we are often not meeting some of our own attachment needs. Some of our own attachment needs don't get met. And so the first thing I would say to you that I really want you to get here is that in order for you to fully heal yourself, you need to understand and recognize what your own attachment needs are as they're coming up and be able to meet them. Okay, so this is the first thing I want you to really get. Attachment needs exist, there's a bunch of them, and sometimes attachment needs come into conflict with each other. We can have two different attachment needs that are both there, they're both needs, but they can come into conflict. And sometimes this is about the way things are structured in our world or in our society. And this is where I think really, where we start to see where being a blind follower can really stop you from being able to heal. So here's the thing. With social conditioning, right, with being kind of indoctrinated into following the prescribed plan of how life should be, as we do that, we are looking outward to understand what we need or what we want. And as we're looking outward, we are not looking inward. We're not connecting to ourselves directly to ask or listen or discern what it is that we might authentically want or need. So this sets up a dynamic where essentially we stop being authentic in order to have belonging with the group, in order to have belonging with society, right? So in a perfect world, let me explain it like this. In a perfect world, all human beings have two different needs that can be in conflict and are in our society, which is the need for belonging and the need to be yourself and be allowed to authentically express who you are as you are. That's a need. Our nervous system gets freaked out if that gets stifled. But if we have to choose between belonging or authenticity, most of us will choose belonging because it feels like there's more safety in belonging in society. And this is really what drives a lot of this kind of default, mindless zombie, mindless consumer, status quo kind of way of living life that people operate inside of. It's a narrative. It's a piece of social conditioning. It's not reality. And so we will often be conditioned by our families of origin and our early life experiences or early school experiences, whatever. We'll be conditioned to start ignoring and abandoning and suppressing our authentic drives or needs or wants in a moment so that we can maintain belonging to the group. Now, I want you to get that this kind of way of relating is fundamentally codependent. Okay, I want you to get that in our society, all the things, getting caught up in all these kind of like things, like being hung up on success and hung up on status and appearing a certain way, getting hung up on, you name it, all the stuff we're conditioned into, right? Looking great, looking amazing, and having tons of money, and having the ideal perfect life that you can flex, and being successful in what you do, and all that, right? That whole external achievement paradigm that our society lionizes. To be participating in that is to be trying to manage the perception of others so that you can feel good, so you can feel good about yourself, right? So that is fundamentally codependent. Think about that, right? When you're engaged in this paradigm, you are outsourcing your sense of validation to others, right? And you are therefore codependent on the cultural conditioning. You're requiring that the cultural conditioning does a certain thing, makes you feel a certain way so that you can feel okay. And in that, again, you're choosing belonging over authenticity. So in our current paradigm, what we see a lot is this choice. And I would say, and you know, what I've learned and what attachment specialists say and teachers of attachment theory say is that a healthy family system or a healthy system to grow up in is one where you have both belonging and authenticity at the same time, and these are not in conflict. Think about that for a moment. In order for us to really be healthy, we need to know that we belong and that we can be ourselves, that we don't have to manage other people's perceptions of us or shapeshift ourselves into being some other way to please others so that they like us, so that we feel okay. In a healthy situation, we are taught from a very young age and internalized from a very young age that it's okay to be ourselves, that being aware of our own needs and expressing them and communicating them will get them met, right? That our own needs are important and valued by others. And or even if they're just valued by ourselves, that that's valid and right. And that we can be whatever way we want to be. We can express ourselves, we can feel what we're feeling, we can do what interests us and still have belonging. That these are not one, they're not mutually exclusive. It's not one or the other, right? But in our society, like I'm saying, I'm being a little redundant here. You get my point, right? In society, it's not that way. And so you can have both, but it means unplugging from the social conditioning and connecting back in, listening to your own system. What do you value? What's important to you? What is fulfilling to you? What's meaningful to you? How do you actually feel? What's actually your truth? How would you like to live? What do you not want to do? What do you want to do? And to start to listen and even just attune to yourself and register those things, and then to start to honor them. Because here's the fucking crazy secret. When you're aware of what your own value system is, and you start living in alignment with your value system, and you start meeting your own needs, you will feel deep, deep happiness and deep, deep joy and deep, deep well-being. Self-connection, self-honoring, being responsible for making sure we get what it is that's meaningful to us and then what we want in life is deeply regulating and healing and nourishing for your nervous system and undoes all this trauma. So on the healing path, inevitably, this opportunity to attune to yourself is part of the process, right? This opportunity to tune inward and go, well, what's meaningful to me? And to not be afraid of that or have all the kinds of like funny relationships that we do to that. It's a very straightforward question. What do I like? What's important to me? What do I need? What do I not want? And to start to take ownership of that relationship again and be grounded in that place. In order to do that, you have to unplug from the groupthink. You have to unplug from being worried about what other people think about you. You have to unplug from chasing the shiny thing, whatever it is. And I have no judgments about any of that. That's all awesome, honestly. But it's not going to give you what most people think it's going to give you, which is happiness or fulfillment or meaning. Generally, it won't, right? And generally, even when you get success, and I've talked to people who have been highly successful, even when you get it, it doesn't, you don't feel any more like real belonging to society. It's that whole thing is cool, but it's empty, right? And this is really because, again, we live now in a culture, in a society where we're raised, honestly, with dysregulated parents who don't know how to tune to you and don't know how to recognize your needs and don't know how to meet them, at least a good chunk of us and a good chunk of the time, enough that people are largely not even aware how important it is to get our needs met and to get the signal that our needs can be met and that our needs are valid and important, and that we can have belonging and be authentic, right? We can really be ourselves and have no loss of context of belonging to family and community and friendships and whatnot, right? So I hope you're starting to see this with me, right? This is a real thing here. You can't be a blind follower and heal. And most people desperately are addicted to being blind followers. Most people are really uncomfortable with or under exercised at thinking for themselves, for example, questioning things, for example, um, asserting something different than the groupthink, for example, um, not just rushing to the memes of whatever community or school of thought or thing you're involved in, but instead really taking ownership of it and evaluating it for yourself, right? Having the courage to live a different kind of life with a different kind of structure than other people, right? Um, et cetera, et cetera. Most of us are terrified to do that. And I get it, because yes, you do temporarily lose resonance with the status quo. So you will seem like a weirdo and an outsider if you do that, which is part of individuation, right? This is part of the process of growing up and healing. Becoming your own person means knowing that you belong, but also knowing that you are unique and different, and the way you work and the way you think and what you need and what you value might be different than others. And there's nothing wrong with either of that, right? And so I want to just kind of put this idea out there for you, right? I think there are a lot of people out there, even in the psychedelic community, psychedelic therapy community, who think they can just kind of like passively consume and just kind of like be a codependent follower. Just if I just do all the meme things, I'll look like everyone and I'll look great and I'll belong. And there are people who think they can just get away with that and not, and somehow heal at the same time. And in my experience, it's not true. And it shouldn't even be a scary proposition, quite frankly, for you to look at being authentic and have that be uncomfortable. You should be able to look at being authentic, and that should be exciting, or at least curious, or nourishing and empowering, you know? And so I just wanted to kind of put this out there for you. Something I've been thinking about a lot. I've been actually thinking a lot about, and I'll be doing more videos about culture and collective consciousness and the friction between awakening, healing, and the kind of the social structure around us, because there's stuff to talk about there. But I want to just kind of like plant this seed out there for you and get you thinking about individuation and letting go of living inside a narrative that's been constructed for you by society, and how key that is to accessing your own authenticity, and how you can't heal if you're not being authentic. If there's a wound there for you between authenticity, and belonging, if you can't resolve that, then you haven't healed yet, right? A truly healthy person is aligned in themselves and able to be like, yeah, I'm me, I'm my own person, and I'm not afraid of not belonging because of that, right? But it's also not about reacting and swinging the other direction and being like, screw the world, I'm my own person, but it's all, being bitter about it either. I think a really healthy person is fully available to participate in community and connection, and celebrates people and celebrates right aligned connections, but also honors oneself and is able to be attuned to what we need and what we want, communicate that, be responsible for that, go get that, right? And it's not an either or, it's a both and. That's what a healthy life looks like. So anyways, a little bit of a riff, a little bit of a rant, but I just want to share this thought with you because I think it's an important thing to really see and understand. And this is a huge part of doing secure self-relating and attachment work, is reconciling these kinds of conflicts inside of ourselves and coming really truly into our own. So if that resonates with you, again, check out the link down below. Take the free course. If you're really vibing with it, consider taking the full course. People are getting their minds blown with it, honestly. And I know you'll get a lot out of it, but even if not, just, think about this. Think about this. Belonging and authenticity at the same time. Being yourself and knowing you belong. This is what we're shooting for here. So anyways, much love to you. I hope you're doing well. Talk to you soon.